Dear ladies and gentlemen, the good or the bad news is that the country has taken another loan from South Korea. 122 billion shillings was secured from the South Korean government. So that could be a good news, but at the same time, it could be bad news. It will be good news if the loan is supposed to be subjected to development purposes. It will be bad news if the loan is taken for people to benefit from, for selfish leaders to steal from the public's coffer. That will be now for bad news. But nevertheless, allow me to take you back to the days when Mudavadi was still in opposition, and the previous president was the deputy president who assumed the role of opposition. So Orlando in a Star newspaper said it's unfair for Kenya Kwanza to blame previous regime. Because in summary, Orlando says in his campaigns, Ruto hit out at the Jubilee government for borrowing and even said that Kenya can do without borrowing. Again, Kenya Kwanza seems to be blaming the previous government rather than learning from his mistakes. That is what Martin Orlando said in a Star newspaper article. Musalia Mudavadi also earlier on made a specific comment. That time he was still not in government. And this is what he said. Was the handshake a license to burden Kenyans with punitive public debt, punitive taxations, punitive food prices, and a high cost of living? He later on said the National Assembly and Senate should reduce the budget ceiling to ensure a fiscal deficit that does not exceed 400 billion and check on the growing public debt. Those are the days when Mudavadi used to be against over borrowing and overspending.
While in Sekuru Friday, Mudavadi expressed concern about the government's growing appetite for foreign loans and graft. Mudavadi has expressed optimism that the president will walk the talk and ensure borrowed funds are used prudently.
Nasema kwamba yeye jukumu lake ni kuhakikisha kwamba zile mikopo zinakuja Kenya zitakuwa za riba ambayo ni njema na tena zitumike vizuri. Na ile rungu yake ya kupiga nyoka ya ufisadi atazidi kuinua na kugonga.
I think now he is not paying heed to the overspending over borrowing, because you know very well that the president couldn't have gone for that loan if the cabinet had not approved, and the problem could be that the cabinet unanimously approved that loan. So that means the vice president, the deputy president, and the prime CS gave a nod to it. That means Musalia Mudavadi was basically retracting, or rather going against or contradicting himself, because previously he had termed the overborrowing as being something that the country should not be subjected to. And the president also said that the country can grow even without loans. So what is the reason? Why is it that this time round the government is taking loan less than 3 months down the line? Let it be known that before 2017, that is before the second general election when UHURU was still in power, before his re-election, Raila Amolo Odinga had raised the red flag about the government's appetite for loans, saying Jubilee was overborrowing, overspending, and overstealing. I think that is in line with what Mudavadi said also during those days when he was against Raila Amolo Odinga's handshake with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, when he said that the handshake could have been a license for overborrowing. Also, we know that when the Kenya Kwanza was formed, again, Mudavadi was heard saying that these loans, this habit of taking loans should stop, and the government should stop taking loans because that is not healthy for the country. I remember there's a time Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila went to China. I mean, Raila had gone there in his capacity as a EU infrastructure general, but Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had gone there in his capacity as the president of the Republic of Kenya. But again, the concept of loan was linked to that trip. And that saw media peddle rumors that Chinese are denied Uhuru and Raila alone, but we never got feedback from the president and the former prime minister regarding the same. But we know that the Tanga people were up in arms against, any kind of loans that the government was going to subject the country to. So the question that we ask ourselves right now is, what has changed? Why is it now that the loan is something very important to them to run the government, and it was not okay for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to take that loan? I attribute all this political ulabalu to just the mere fact that one was trying to sabotage the other. Could be that one leader was trying to sabotage the other so the other cannot work, because basically maybe the country needed that loan to be able to service other loans and service other agendas, because the country had already been subjected to a huge loan that was brought about by the SGR project that was implemented by Uhuru and RUTO during the first term in office. We don't know about this loan, the 122 billion that has been taken from South Korea, whether it's going to be put to use positively or to be just an avenue for people to steal. I mean, giving people money so that they can steal from it. I'm looking at, most of these government tenders is alleged that the government employees are the ones who take these tenders, then they masquerade as, directors, junior directors, but then they are senior directors, and then they give these tenders to people outside who in turn deliver and then gives the government employees their own share. So the 122 billion, if it's well put to use, is fine. If it's not put to use, then that will subject the people again to huge taxations. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to wind up there. But please, if you're a first-time viewer, take a moment and subscribe to Yoleno TV. Once again, I'd like to say thank you so much for those who've been supporting us. And until we meet again for another analysis, may you stay safe and stay blessed.